And welcome into our Irving studios. Chris Budden, Rudy Angolia joining you now. We're going to hear from Ken Niumatalolo, the head coach of Navy, here in just a second. When you look, last year was so different.
Yeah.
They opened up and they'd really limited tackling, and you saw that from the opener. When you look at this Navy team from top to bottom, what stands out of a team that really gets a full now year of prep to be able to showcase their talents?
Yeah, well, you mentioned the first 7 games, I think they averaged giving up about 450 yards a game. End of the season, they fixed that tremendously, only gave up about 245. So, yeah, getting a spring under their belt and then a normal fall camp, as you said, tackling and hitting makes a big deal. So I would venture to say we're going to see a much improved, not only Navy defense, but a Navy team.
They were 3-7 last year, and if you look at Niumatalolo's rebounding off losing seasons, in 2018 they went 3-10. The next year, 11-2. So, if you think the odds are stacked against them following the losing season, Coach Niumatalolo seems to have his team right where he wants them right after that. Here's a look at their profile. Look at the key non-conference games. Air Force, they got to go Notre Dame, and then that special game on December 12th.
But you mentioned it, Chris. That's what makes Coach Niumatalolo so good. He's the most tenured coach in the conference, one of the most tenured coaches in the country. He fixes issues when they run into him in a season, and that's really what makes him so great. The next year, they always come out and fix those issues and do better.
They are picked 8th in the preseason poll that was released today. For them, the biggest decision right now will be who will be starting under center, and I'm sure that Coach Niumatalolo will get those questions. But, Coach, first, thanks so much for joining us. We talked a little bit about where you guys sat at this point last year and so much restrictions during practice. Now having a whole spring practice, just how much further ahead are you in preparations for the 2021 season?
It's not even close. I mean, it's not even close to, they're just night and day. You know, last year at this time, none of us knew anything. You know, all the smartest people in the world, doctors, you know, we didn't know anything. And so, you know, I erred on the side of caution to make sure that our players, people in our program were safe. We didn't do things that we normally do. We missed spring ball. You know what I mean? So this year it's been completely different. From January on, we've been doing our normal things, our normal winter workouts, our normal spring practices. We just finished our off season, you know, and it was a great off season. I told somebody this, and I don't know if this is good or bad, I don't say, but, you know, at one of our workouts, and it was pretty grueling, and we had a couple guys throwing up on the sidelines, and I looked at one of our guys and goes, I don't know if I've ever been so happy seeing some guys throw up. Just 'cause, we're back. You know, we're back to doing hard things. Football is a hard game. You got to do hard things. And last year we didn't do anything. We shadowed boxed all spring practice. You know, we hit bags, and thus we played that way. So really, really excited about where we're at, and we're going to be a completely different team.
Okay, we'll go to questions for Coach Niumatalolo. Again, raise your hand in the Zoom platform to be in the queue. We'll start with Bill Wagner from the Baltimore Sun Media Group, please.
Hey, Coach, good to see you. Obviously, the preseason poll came out and Navy was picked 8th. Your thoughts on that?
We're picked low pretty much every year. You know, pretty much every year in the magazines, we get picked in the hundreds. You know, in 2019, I think we got picked 116 out of 130 teams. We finished 17th in the country. So I don't worry too much about where people stay and where we're at. You know, you look at our record over the years of being in the conference, where we stand in the total amount of wins. You know, we're like 3rd or 4th, and we're like a couple games out of being number 1 in the amount of wins since we've been in this league. So I'm not really worried about preseason polls. That's not where things are at. I'm just worried about our preparation and like we're at right now.
Well, it was just mentioned that you authored a bounce-back season after a tough year in 2018. You had an incredible 2019 season. Anything you can apply from that experience to this? I mean, you have to do the same thing, bounce back.
Every year is different. And I always say this every year. It's every team is a different team. You know, people ask me, you know, what did we learn? You know, did I learn anything from last year not tackling? Like, no, this is football. I mean, I knew the way we practiced that we would struggle, but we were in a pandemic and we didn't know what was going on. And so a lot of what happened last year was my fault because I chose to go that route. But we've been completely back to our culture this year. So I just feel really, really good. We got great team leadership. We got great captains. You know, our team picked 4 great captains, and they've, you know, we just keep our mouth quiet and grind. Let people pick us where they want to pick us. But we'll be ready, you know, on September 4th when the first game comes.
We'll go next to Dan Tortora. Wake up call DT, please.
Good afternoon, Coach. Good to see you.
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Doing well. Just what you could say about the quarterback situation. I know Xavier took over the last couple games last season, and just what you can say about life under center as you step into 2021.
Well, Xavier came into spring practice number 1, and it's not that he had a bad spring. He did some good things, but Ty Lavatai closed a lot of ground and had a really good, you know, spring practice. Ty reminds me a lot of Will Worth, you know, a bigger quarterback, about 215, can throw it, can run. Xavier's more along the lines of Malcolm, you know, more of a slashy runner. But also Masai Maynard, too, had a great spring. So I feel like we got 3 quarterbacks that we feel much better about. Again, last year, our quarterbacks, Dalen Morris and our guys that hadn't played behind Malcolm, they didn't get any spring practice. You know, they went straight into the BYU game without any practices under their belt, live practices. But it's been different. You know, all of our 3 quarterbacks, you know, we went against our defense. You know, we have a really good defense. Coach Newberry's a great defensive coordinator. We got a lot of returners on defense. And so just the opportunity to go against our defense with all the different things that we do, we're pretty multiple on defense. Pretty much everything that we'll see all season, Coach Newberry shows us. You know, they have a multiple of different fronts and coverages. And so it can be confusing for linemen and quarterbacks. And I thought it was great for our quarterbacks to kind of learn under fire. So really excited about our quarterback situation. Again, I feel much better than we did last year. Again, there's nothing against our quarterbacks last year, but they didn't have the opportunity to progress. But this year they have. And then going into our summer camp, feel really good about that situation. They all had great summers. And whoever separates them themselves in camp is going to be the starter.
And then to switch gears, name, image, and likeness. For the first time ever, we're going to see players be able to profit in college. Just what your take has been about that.
Well, I think it's great for the players. You know, I think it's great that, you know, they'll be able to do this. You know, really it's about time. So really excited for the players. You know, we're a little bit different here at the Naval Academy. You know, we got different rules, but, you know, I think in general, for all the student athletes, I think it's awesome.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Dan.
We'll take the next one from Trace Trilco from Sons of UCF, please.
Coach, going into camp, what is the percentage of your team's vaccination rate? And what are your thoughts on the league saying that games impacted by COVID will not be rescheduled and teams could face forfeit?
Well, right now our program is 100% vaccinated, so we're ready to go. From a program last year that, like I said, I mean, nobody erred on the side of caution more than we did here at the Naval Academy. I mean, our whole program, you know, we're all vaccinated. You know, the league came out with that policy, and we're going to abide by it. You know, last year, obviously, there are a lot of games that got forfeited, but they've told us up front, you know, we know the rules. You know, everybody in the league knows the ramifications. And so we've taken the necessary precautions, not only to protect our players, but to make sure that we can play. We've done everything in our power to make sure that, you know, our program, we're going to play this year and we're going to be ready to go.
We'll go back to Bill Wagner, please.
Coach, as you get ready to go into summer camp, August camp, you know, obviously you were asked about the quarterback situation. That has to be settled. You've also got to find a new starter at fullback. Can you talk about perhaps some of the question marks, if you will, in your mind going into August camp?
Well, I felt like, you know, I think things have a way of working themselves out. You know, obviously we hate to lose Jamel, you know, and then we're really excited about him and his opportunity to, you know, his new opportunity he has at Western Kentucky. But Isaac Ruas, James Harris, you know, got a lot of reps this spring ball. You know, Jamel had missed some practices because of injury, and so, you know, we're really excited about them. Isaac did a really good job. So did James. We got some young guys behind them. You know, Malcolm Terry, Mike Maui. You know, those are some guys. We got some kids coming from the prep school. They still got to prove themselves. But I was really pleased with the way our fullbacks played in spring. And again, going against our defense, it's a great litmus test to see if guys know what we're doing because we constantly changing fronts, constantly changing coverages. So you get a great opportunity to see if a guy knows what he's doing, and really pleased with where they're at. You know, they're both, you know, Isaac, is about 215. James Harris is about 230. You know, James is probably a little bit more of a bruiser. Isaac's more of a slasher. But I thought both of them had really good spring ball. Looking forward to those guys in this camp.
Plebe summer is over. Are you confident that you'll have your plebes ready to practice right away, unlike last year when you didn't get them until well into August camp?
Well, we didn't get them until school started. You know what I mean? And so things are so different than last year. I mean, they're so different. Last year, our guys were sitting in dorms and getting their food in the dorms. You know, they'd come by and get, you know, take out lunches, and they'd give them their lunch and close the door. They had to eat in their rooms. You know, they ate isolated. I mean, there are just so many different things this year that you know, it's back to normal. And so our plebes are going to be back for practice. They're going to go through the normal deals of meetings and stuff. And so they'll have the opportunity like they've had in years past. It's completely different. Like I said, I've been here 24 years. Last year was as different, the most different of any season in all my years of being here. But this year, we're back to normal.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Wags.
Go back to Dan Tortora for a follow-up, please.
Coach, we've spoken about it before. Representing the Naval Academy is so much bigger. Just what you could say about this last year and a half as a coach there and as someone who is around the Naval Academy, just what it's meant to you to represent that and to represent freedom at a time where, you know, many people were stuck in their houses and felt anything but free.
I thought last year, even though on the field, you know, our record wasn't very good, I thought we had as good a leadership as I can remember. You know, with Cam Kinley, Jackson Perkins, Miles Fells, Billy Honecker, those guys did a great job of leading our team. There's a lot of things going on in our country last year, and I thought they did a great job of representing our school, representing the Naval Academy. You know, Cam Kinley's, you know, right now with the Buccaneers, and I thought he did a great job of representing our program, his family, our values, you know, during this off season. But again, I couldn't have been more proud of the way that our guys led during such difficult times last year. You know, last year, like when games are canceled, I'll give you an example. When games are canceled at other schools and games are canceled, you just go back to your dorms. You go back to where you live, and you're just a normal person. You can go eat. You can go wherever you want. When our games are canceled, our guys are locked in their rooms. I mean, they're isolated in their rooms. You'd come out for an hour and a half, maybe to get some air and go work out. You couldn't work out with anybody. You had to stay in pairs. And I'm not complaining with you. It's just what it is, what it is. And so, you know, our guys were eating in their rooms by themselves. And when they came out for an hour and a half, you know, they're by themselves. And so I was just proud of the way they fought through such a difficult year with all that went on. And it was the leadership of our seniors, again, our team captains. It wasn't reflected in the season, but just leading people during difficult times, which these guys will do. I mean, they're about to be leaders for our country. They're going to be leading during tough times. And I thought last year, unfortunately, was you know, some great preparation for what's going to happen to them when they lead sailors and Marines, you know, out in the fleet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
We'll go back to Trace Trilco, please, for a follow-up.
Oklahoma and Texas to the SEC has been the talk of the college football world. In terms of the health of the game, what do you think moves like this mean to the sport of college football?
It's going to change. The landscape of college football obviously is going to change. Those two teams are such marquee blue blood programs in our country. Going into the SEC, which was already the top conference in our profession and in our game, and now adding those two teams is just going to separate themselves. And so it'll be interesting to see what everybody else does, try to keep up with the Joneses. It's an arms race. There's a lot of things changing with that, with the playoffs. Everybody's just trying to situate themselves to be in the best situation. The game's changed, though. Name, image, and likeness, one-time transfer, the transfer portal. I imagine, soon there's going to be a paying of players, and so there's just a lot of different things. And the teams that are able to adapt, the programs that are able to adapt are the programs that are going to be able to survive. And I know, I've heard a lot of discussion that's going to, wreck some of the traditions and some of the traditional games. And, I understand that, but the game's moving and it's evolving. And the programs that got some foresight, the programs that got some vision about how to improve, how to situate themselves, are the programs that are going to, have a chance to continue to thrive at the highest level. I'd imagine there's going to be a separation, of the have and the have-nots, but the landscape of college football and of college sports in a couple of years will be completely different than the way it is right now.
We'll go next to Chris Vanini from The Athletic for the next question, please.
Yeah, Ken, you talked about what your players had to do when a game was canceled, being locked in the room, essentially. How much of a role did that play in getting your team 100% vaccinated? Because I know the military hasn't yet required that.
Yeah, I think, pretty much here at the academy, they've done a really good job of making it available to everybody. There's been a lot of education of, the pros and cons and why to get a vaccination. There's been a big effort here in our program to make sure that guys are educated at it. And, I'm a big person to allow people to have their choices, not to force it on anybody. That's what makes our country great. And our guys have decided to get it. And our, people in our program decided to get it. But like I said, I'm excited because we don't have any excuses this year. Last year we had a lot of things you could point at. We couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. This year's been, everything moving forward. Like I said, everybody's vaccinated. I don't see us canceling any games. I don't see any of that. Our preparation this season is back to normal. And so I'm just excited because I've been doing this a long time. And what I see makes me feel good about this year. You know what I mean? Last year, like I said, we weren't even practicing. Last year, only 8 guys or whatever. We had small groups lifting in the weight room. And it was so different in the preparation. We're trying to figure out how to do things. But this year, we're back to normal, Chris. So I'm really excited because we look like Navy again. This offseason, we look like us.
The NCAA just a few minutes ago released its recommendations for testing and all that stuff. And you'll have to be tested a lot if you're not vaccinated. How much did that play into your players just simply not wanting to go through last year again?
That sucked last year. I mean, who wants that thing stuck in your nose every morning? You know what I mean? Just, I think guys are excited to not have to do that anymore. Getting up early in the morning, 3 times a week to go get your nose, your nostrils probed. You know what I mean? That wasn't any fun. Just all those things that we had to do last year. I'm just excited that we don't have to do any of that. And we can focus on the game. We always recognize that people are bigger and than we are, that we have to make sure that we do everything in our power to make sure that we make up the ground and all that. Last year, like everybody else, we're focused on those kinds of things. But this year, Chris, we don't have to focus on all that. We can focus on getting ready to play against Marshall. And so I think everybody in our program is excited not to get, those long Q-tips stuck up your nostrils anymore, and just be ready just get on the plane and go play when we have to go away or we're at home. Just go play at our Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium.
Take the last question for Coach for Bill Wagner again, please.
Coach, can you talk about the schedule? You play a perennially strong program in Marshall right out of the gate. Then you play Air Force earlier than you ever have before. And then we talked about the AAC preseason poll. Well, the top 6 teams on that poll, 1 through 6, you play them all before the end of October.
Yeah, normally, we start off with a team from the Patriot League. So for us, that's a good matchup. You know what I mean? So we've done very well against Patriot League teams. But, obviously we're playing Marshall. That's picked to win their conference, like you said. And so that's going to be a really, really tough game. Then you go with Air Force after that. And Air Force has got a lot of returners that sat out last year. So they're a good football team, always have been. And they get those guys back. So, we know how good they're going to be. Our league is as tough as it's ever been. It's only gotten better. Obviously Army's, good now. And then you got Notre Dame, which was a Final Four team last year. So, and this is definitely the toughest schedule that, we've ever played, since I've been here, since 1995. This is the hardest schedule that we've ever had. But our guys have known that. We've known about the schedule for a while. There's been great motivation for all of us in our program. Last year's a great motivation, but also this schedule to make sure that we're ready to go. And our guys have embraced this, the tough challenge, and we're looking forward to it.
Coach Chris Budden here. As we wrap up, I want to ask you about Diego Fagot, who is on the BEDNARIK Award watch list. Last year led your team in tackles despite pushing through injuries. What does he give you as a leader and as a football player?
He's been an awesome leader. He leads by example. One of the toughest guys in our team. He's the complete package at linebacker. He's big, he's physical, he's smart. He can run. He plays the run, he plays the pass. He gets you lined up on defense, he can make calls. He just has a complete package, as a football player. And as a leader, he's done a great job in leading by example. Couldn't have been more pleased, by his leadership. And we're going to need him to have a great year this year. He's been a great player for us. And as good as he's played for us to have a great year, he's got to take his game to another level. And he recognizes that. And all the things that he's done in this offseason are great indications that he's going to have a phenomenal year for us.
Well, Coach Ken Niumatalolo, you're your 14th season as the head coach of Navy. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck tomorrow as you begin fall camp.
Thanks for having me. You guys take care.
Yep. Well, we just talked about Diego Fagot, who yesterday, I know that this is someone that you just find so incredibly impressive. What physical skill sets does he have that just showcase on the field?
Well, he's got the perfect build for a linebacker, right? And he's got that mentality because you need that. And he understands the defense and he understands the offense that's coming at him. And so you need that field general out there, and he does it. And he's not afraid to throw his body around, which you love for your middle linebacker.
He does it in the weight room, too. So they have a motto this year. For 2021, the Navy motto is burn the boats. It's a motivational slogan that basically says during their off-season workouts, we're just going to empty the tank.
There you go.
I love that. When we talk about the rest of the team, he understands, last year we got everything thrown at us. We're now 100% vaccinated. We have no excuses now. It's not we can't practice. We're going to have to cancel this game. What did you like from what Coach Niumatalolo said?
You could just see the relief in his face and just his words that how much different it is this year than it was last year. So, and he's right. You are going to see a much improved Navy football team this year. There's no doubt about it. Just the fact that everything's back to normal. Watch out for Navy because, as he said, they are one of the most winningest programs in the American Conference in history.
I love at the beginning what he said. We're back to doing hard things, throwing up during a practice. Well, joining us now, we have Kevin Brennan, a safety for Navy, also a co-captain. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll let the media jump in and ask you some questions. And we'll get started with Bill Wagner from the Annapolis Capital / Baltimore Sun Media Group.
Good to see you, Kevin. I would ask you the same question I asked Coach Niumatalolo to start off. You're picked 8th in the conference, tied for 8th. That's down at the bottom. Is that something that motivates the players, that the media that follows this conference doesn't think you're going to be very good?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely motivates us a little bit, but honestly, we don't really pay much attention to that. If you look at past years, I think every single year toward the bottom, and it really doesn't matter. We always have a chip on our shoulder. We're ready to play wherever.
And what, in your opinion, why will Navy have a bounce-back season after last year? Coach Niumatalolo has, talked about some of the factors he believes will lead to change and improvement and more wins. What's some of your thoughts as a player?
Yeah, I mean, it really started once the season ended last year. We started laying the foundation for our culture, what it's going to be this year. So, things are back to normal now for the most part, and there are no excuses. We burn the boats every day. That's our team motto. There's no excuses for anything. We just go to work every day. Let the results speak for itself.
And last from me before I yield the floor, it's a very, very difficult schedule, as Coach Niumatalolo just summed up about how you don't have any breathers on this schedule. You feel good that this team's up to the challenge of what he's calling the toughest schedule in Navy history during his time associated with the program?
Yeah, I think we're definitely up to the challenge. We've been working all summer, working all off season. We wouldn't want it any other way. We were in this conference for a reason, to play tough teams, do tough things. It's kind of what we're built for here at Navy. We go through tough things every day, and we're ready for the challenge.
We'll go next to Dan Tortora, please. Wake up call DT.
Kevin, Coach spoke about the lockdown experience and the uniqueness, even more so for Navy. Just what you can say about going through that last year and how you handled really having no time outside of an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal at times, for sure. Just trying to keep our goals in mind as a team and as a program. As you mentioned, just having an hour and a half outside, and luckily my roommate's a football player, but that's not the case for everybody, and you could only be with your roommate really. So it was kind of a brutal experience. But people that last here are some tough dudes. We have some tough dudes on this team, and I think it only made us stronger as a unit.
And then as far as Ken Niumatalolo as a leader, 14 years as the head coach of this program, just what you can say about your coach and his leadership style and what you take from him.
Yeah, he's the greatest leader I've ever been around, honestly. One of the greatest coaches in all of college football, and it's honestly just because he leads through love. He clearly loves his players and cares for us and wants what's best for us. You saw that last year in the way he took care of us throughout a pandemic. He treats all of us like his sons, and it really shows. We play for him. We play hard for him.
Thanks, Kevin, and thanks for representing the Navy.
Thank you.
Go back to a follow-up from Bill Wagner, please.
Kevin, obviously, we've talked at length about not hitting during August camp last year. How excited are you to get after it? I think you're going to have some spirited sessions when you go good on good with the offense.
Yeah, it's really exciting for sure. We love to compete here. It's what we need in order to win games, is competing in the off season, in the summer and fall camp. We got a little taste in spring ball, so that's definitely going to be one more exciting part of camp.
No.
Kevin, your brother was also a graduate of Navy 2019. Can you give me a sense of what that place means to you and your family?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. My brother coming here, my grandfather served in the Navy. My parents didn't, but then kind of my older brother I guess, started the foundation of my family coming here. My little sister is going to be a sophomore here now. So, this place has done a lot for my family, done a lot for me, and me as a man. So the Naval Academy has done a lot for us.
Finally, before I let you go, you're a quantitative economics major. What does the course load look like for this semester?
It's pretty heavy. So, every year here is a grind. So got a lot of tough classes out of the way, but a lot still in front of me. So it'll be an interesting semester academically.
You can't give me some names? You got a physics 3020? What do we got?
Yeah, I mean, we've taken all the physics and chemistry classes, electrical engineering, thermodynamics. I got a weapons class to take still. That'll be a tough one, and that on top of the majors classes. So, like I said, it'll be a good semester.
Awesome. On top of football, which starts tomorrow for fall camp. Thank you so much for joining us, Kevin. Have a great season.
Thank you.